You guys heard about the Mandela effect?
Oh yeah, or like
Shit.
how does that work again?
It was like, what was it, the Berenstein Bears or the Berenstein Bears?
Oh,
Was it Berenstein or Berenstein?
Bernstein, I think. But it's spelled like Stein.
Berenstein Bears.
Berenstein. He added an extra R in
It's
the
Berenstein.
It's Berenstein. Says who?
Mandela! That's Mandela effect.
Now, do you need to use the bathroom before we start?
Yeah, I got to do the.
Who says doo-doo? What's up, folks? Welcome back to the Victor Cruz Acting Studio Podcast. That's right. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do now. And if you like this video, please like it, and just hit the like button. Just do us a favor, hit the like button. Just give us some love. Today, I've got some very special guestesses in the house. These are two friends, brothers, an uncle in comedy that I've known for a very, very long time. They're hanging out. They're doing some funky dances. In the house today, we've got comedian and actor Gil Tucker. Over here on the other side, we have another actor, comedian, Mr. Laz Vic. Y'all get an applause. You know what I'm saying?
What's up, party people?
What's up, guys? Welcome to my show.
Thank you for having us.
I'm flabbergasted.
You're flabbergasted?
Yes. You
You
went to
actually
so much
use-
trouble to put together all of this beautifulness for us.
It is beautiful in
Yes,
here.
I did take my time today to make sure that this was right because I had friends coming. You know,
Word.
we gotta make
That-
it special.
That theme song, that's my new joint, yo!
You like it?
Made us feel like
like
special,
it.
special thespians.
Is that on Spotify or?
No. I got it off of a website where you can use music. But he introduced me to a beat today that I might. Who knows? Maybe I'll use it for the. I don't even
Why
know.
not?
For the program. So we'll see.
You're gonna use it to beat it.
I'm gonna use it to beat it. Whoa, hey!
Hey.
Come on, we might have some kids watching.
Beat it.
All right.
It's a family podcast.
All right. So I got a question up front that I'm going to ask you guys. And you guys tell me what you think. All right. So what do you guys think are the ingredients of a good joke? What is the structure of a joke? What is the science behind a joke?
I'll let Gil take this one.
Oh, thank you, sir. Well, a good joke is just like a good story. Mm-hmm. You have to have your beginning, your middle, and your end. And your end is always your punchline. Mm-hmm. So it's basically, and your punchline should usually go a little bit left.
Oh, I'm sorry. What were you saying, Gil?
I'm about to slap the anyway. That's what a good joke is about.
Got it. Laz, what do you think?
I agree. I think you gotta have your setup.
Right from the beginning.
You gotta have your punch, and then you gotta punch all the way down.
So just a bunch of punches.
Just a bunch of punches. Do a setup, punch.
Got
That's it.
Got
Maybe
it.
an act out in there.
Got it.
You gotta do it like you fighting in a ring.
You gotta learn the rules
Gotta
first.
keep punching.
Then you can bend them and break them.
Yeah, there you
And what are the rules in comedy?
There are no rules.
All right, well, there you have it. So, welcome, guys. Now, Gil, you're in town from Miami.
Yes,
You're
sir.
originally from Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, born and raised, baby.
Brooklyn. And Laz, where are you originally from? New Jersey?
New Jersey in the house.
We just lost all of the viewers.
All right, why they call it the Garden State?
We don't have to pump our own gas. What?
all that fertilizer over
That
there.
is true.
We
I
ain't
do-
pumping gas.
I do like that about Jersey. After I get lost driving to someone's house,
You guys are suckers.
You pump your own gas?
No, I don't pump.
it's illegal to pump their own gas. They'll get like attacked and jumped
kidding?
and sent to jail.
They need to
pump
do
their
that
own
down
gas.
in Miami then, because people getting robbed left and right trying to pump gas.
And I just rolled the window down like a little crack. Like, give me 10 regular. And then I just slide it. I slide the $10.
Slide the card or the $10.
over like that.
That sound
so
like the-
comfortable,
that
bro.
sound like the old
It's
weed
so
spot
when it's
back in the
super
day.
cold out
Yeah.
and you're driving and you just that guy's out there and you just put the window down
But
just a little bit.
sometimes it's summertime and you just have the AC pumping and it's really cold
Yes,
inside, so you have your coat
exactly.
on.
That sounds
Got
like
it.
the weed spot. You go to the weed spot and they slide the door out.
Oh, when I went
What you
to-
gonna put it in there? Scoop.
When I went to California, I didn't know that. That you have to pump your own gas in Cali.
So when you got there, you
So
were
I was
waiting.
there. I was waiting and I was I was beeping the horn.
Yeah.
What the? And I was cursing.
You better be glad they didn't shoot you.
And I was like in the car, having a tantrum. People looking at me. And it's a self-service. Like, oh, and I got out.
And how many days did you wait there before you realized you couldn't pump your own? You had to pump your own gas.
Let me just tell you, I didn't know when I was done. It was like the first time I had sex, I didn't know
Yeah.
when I was finished.
Got
Like,
it.
how do you know?
As soon as you
Right.
fall asleep,
And I had
you
to
know.
tell the gas guy, how do you know when you're done? He goes, you'll know.
You just
You'll
know.
know.
You just know.
You'll know.
You go,
You'll know.
I'm done.
Are we still talking about gas? So let me ask you guys something. Did you guys start out as stand-up comedians, or did you start out as actors?
I started out as an infant.
As an infant. Got it. And after being an infant, how did you work your way
Before
towards
that, he
it?
was a sperm.
Before that, he was a sperm cell that survived millions of sperm cells, right? Is that
No,
how it works?
actually, I went all the way around. I didn't want to. I was too afraid to be a comic, so I did everything else.
Yeah.
I did acting and writing and ensembles and musicals and plays until finally,
I said, do comedy.
actually, Gil's the one that told me.
Gil's the one that said do
I
comedy.
said, do comedy.
Because we were in a play together.
Wow.
Gil and I were in a play together called
Mm-hmm.
Great Comedians of Color. Like, what, over 10 years ago?
That's when you played Freddie Prince.
Yeah.
I played Freddie Prince.
And you played.
He ripped that up, man.
You were playing.
Red Fox.
I played red all day, all night, play
He
red.
killed it. And who showed up to our show? What was his name? The comedian from Vegas?
I can't remember.
Oh,
his name.
man, super well-known comic came because he was a friend of Freddie's.
Oh, okay.
And he came to see the show. It was a great show. And then that's how I learned how to do stand-up. And then Gil bought me the
But
rest
he
of
had
the
the,
way.
he had the chops for it, man.
Yeah, the
it was
chops
just
for it
fine.
already.
I said, man, all you need to do now is just start writing your own stuff. And now the boy is
I remember we were on the
serious
train.
professional, man.
We were on the train, and Gil says, all right, so this is, you can take the color red, and I want you to give me 10 words for the color red.
That's when I was teaching him how to write.
You know, how to do adjectives, how to add. And I go home and red, write 10.
So how does that work? Okay, so he gives it. Let's do it now. So you give us
Or
a
like,
word.
Give us or an adjective, or like bike.
Uh-huh.
Give us 5 different ways of saying bike, right?
Got it.
Motorcycle, bicycle,
Ah,
bike,
Got you.
wheels.
Just to stretch your brain a little bit.
Stretch your brain
See
a
how
little
far
bit,
you can
right?
go.
But because like when you describe something, normally you would use a certain words. You know, I just looked at something that was very white. You know, no, you're not. As a writer, it's about finding a word for that people weren't thinking about. So you go another route. You know,
Right.
like alabaster or something. People are like, oh, alabaster, right away. You know, so it's
There you go.
different ways of saying things. And you can switch things up. So as opposed to saying, oh, something was very black, you could say, oh, it looked like charcoal, you know. Or, so there's a number of ways just to do it. So you can grab your audience, not just by using the same thing that they normally hear.
Gotcha. And this same method, do you think you use it in acting as well?
Absolutely. For improv, right? When you're acting and you're doing lines, when I look at the lines now, I'm not afraid to do it my way, right?
Got it.
So even if it's exact words on the paper, I can do it 5 different ways. And I can confidently make a decision and give you intent with those 5 different ways. Because on stage as a comedian, you have to be ready. You have to know.
You have to adapt.
You have to adapt.
And that's the difference between being an actor and a comedian.
Got it.
When you're a comic, if something happens in the audience, you have to deal with it at that moment. Otherwise, you lose the audience because everybody wants to see what just happened. So you got to relate to that. Whereas as an actor, something happens out in the audience, that's a fourth wall. So they're not there. You're here in another environment doing what you do. So it takes a very strong actor to be able to step out of that and say something and come back to where you were. Or you don't want your audience to lose the illusion of where you are.
What happens if the sound is just like so loud? It's so loud that it's not even anything you could ignore. Like, what do you think? Do you think the actors, the characters should acknowledge it as if it was coming inside their house or wherever they are?
So if you're saying what the audience is loud and rowdy,
Well, not the audience being loud. But let's say like something falls.
okay.
There's a huge noise in the audience.
Look, you could relate to it. You know, it's just like if something goes wrong on stage, you got to relate to it.
Yeah.
You know, something fall behind you, look behind you. Well, what was that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Now, what was you saying? You know,
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I would use it for sure.
Cool.
And that's a lesson I learned in the theater where I didn't take that opportunity. And the director was like, you should
Go for it.
go for it. Something happens, even if it's not scripted.
Gotcha.
I've done plays where someone got hit by a car. It was an outdoor Shakespeare. We're doing outdoor Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Some kid got hit by a car.
Wait, one of the actors in the troupe got hit by a car?
We were doing the show, in a park.
Oh, I see. And somebody got
and then
hit.
someone got hit nearby.
Got it.
And we heard it.
Oh, okay.
It was like you could see it.
you could see it.
And we're like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna stay in character? Or are we gonna go help this kid?
Is he dead?
You know what I mean? So of course we stopped the show. We went to go help him, and then we came back. And
well, according to Gil, he would not stop. He would keep going. He would just keep going in the scene.
And that's what she said.
According to Gil, there could be, people getting hit by cars,
of course,
an explosion.
You would go over there. Could someone please?
What kind of plays are you doing? Someone please.
Shakespeare in the Park. No, Shakespeare on Atlantic Avenue.
Shakespeare in Miami.
What did you say? I can't hear you. Everything fox in my ear.
So good, man. See, you kind of incorporated. That's very, very cool. Let me ask you something, because I remember there was a time when I was in school where when I went into school to study acting, at least on a very serious level, I was already doing stand-up comedy. And I had a lot of people that were giving me a hard time. They were saying that if I wanted to be a stand-up comic, I had to be a stand-up comic. But if I wanted to be an actor, I had to be an actor. Like the two worlds can't coexist.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
It's because most people can't cross over. You got a lot of actors that they're known for doing drama, but put them in a comedy, they're like a fish out of water. Not all stand-up comics can act either.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen certain actors. I ain't gonna say their names, but they started out as comedians, and watching them act was like you wanted to shoot yourself. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe this person.
Now I think it's different. Back in the 80s and 90s, maybe you had to stick to one thing, but now it's a free fall. I mean, look, anybody can be president, so anybody can be anything.
Look at Pryor. Look at Murphy. Look at Monique. Case in point. Now she went from doing stand. Now most stand-up comics can't do drama. So for her to go from there and like Whoopi Goldberg to go from comical things and basically win an Oscar doing something serious, that's a whole nother
Queen
ballgame.
Latifah.
Exactly.
I mean, you can do it if you have the passion. Do it. I think you could be an actor and a plumber at the same time.
I think it's just about pretty much training. It's about
You know
training,
what I mean?
man.
And you got to look at the positive side of things. Like now, there's going to be a lot less actors because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Right? So that the competition's going to go
The
down.
coronavirus is wiping out all actors.
There you go. You got to look at the bright side.
Sorry, Gil. Coming for you first. I know you like coronas.
What, they trying to thin out the herd? Get the old ones first. Asshole.
Ooh, get that guy over there.
Is that why you gave Gil the better chair because he's older?
Yeah. I just figured he might.
course, man.
Actually, I have the better chair. To be honest,
My back hurts.
Yeah, he's got a cushion on it.
Yeah. Do you want to switch chairs?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Matter of fact, you got more cushion than I do.
Are you
Looking at my.
Are you looking
Nobody
at?
said nothing about nobody else. See,
Are you checking Laz out?
you are two the filthiest.
Do you want me to? I can leave you guys by
Horrible.
yourselves. You guys can.
I feel like a piece of meat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, eyes up here, buddy. Seriously.
This is not a Fig Newton, motherfuckers. Excuse my language.
We just got knocked off by a few platforms.
There we go. Excuse my language.
Before we started this podcast, we were cracking up. We were dying. Then I hit record, and we got like NPR Sirius.
Because this sounds on this microphone is like so intense. It's like I feel like I should be talking like in a documentary or something right now.
Well, you don't have to do that because we can hear you breathing.
You could do sound effects, right? You could do sound effects.
The night was cold.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, everybody was high as hell, even the mouse.
It's very intense. These microphones.
They are very
brings
intense.
the energy down a little bit.
Very intense. It's true.
Dad was
It's
at the
very
strip club, and Mom was smoking grass.
It's like,
And I
have you heard
just
the ASMR stuff?
Settle down.
On
for a
YouTube?
nice piece of ass.
Oh, yes.
ASMR that they talk like that.
Yeah. They did a sketch on.
We're all gonna be together. Just cut
People-
the paper.
I heard the window.
And then you hear the big, and it works. I'm sitting there. Something about it.
Where do you see my dick?
Like there's this girl that just whispers the whole time.
You know what he's talking about though? Do you know what he's talking about?
ASMR, Gil.
Yeah, you got to check this thing out. It's people
like-
are getting off on sounds. Like they're just sitting there and people are like cutting paper.
Yeah.
They're just whispering.
They whisper.
And just the sound of the whisper is making them feel nice.
Well, you know, back in the day, they had those the sound effects in the radio stations. They had all these different things that they would do in order to make, and on films. They were like, all right, well, you know, somebody's walking, they would have these,
Yeah.
you know, and it'd be things and bring out those sounds, and certain people got into those sounds.
But this is more intense. This is like going into your soul and just shaking you up. Hey, Gil, do you like the way this sounds?
Get the hell away from me.
So, Gil, you just finished the play
Yes, sir.
at the Black Spectrum Theater.
Yes, sir.
What was the name of the play?
Black Love.
Black Love. How'd that go?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, this is the same company that we just won for Best Revival in Adobo. For
Adobo?
No, not Adobo. That's for your food. I'm talking about Adelco.
Sorry.
That's for black audiences.
Oh.
The Adobo Awards are
you-
for the
Adobo's
Latinos.
for Latinos.
You would think about. You would say Adobo.
Adobo
And the
Awards.
Adobo Award goes to Las Vic.
For Goya, Goya, Goya.
Put adobo on everything, Papa. Adobo this. But yeah, so anyway, they brought us in to do a show that he did 70 years. Not 70. Back in 1970. No, this is his 50th.
No, but I like that. I was about
well.
to ask, wow, he's doing
this
good.
Is their 50th,
good,
this is their
son.
50th
50th year.
anniversary. And one of the shows he started out with was a show called Black Love. So he decided to rewrite it, update it, and he decided to direct it this time. So
That's
Nice.
cool. Was he in the original production?
I don't know, because I know he also acts. A lot of people don't even know that. But we had a ball doing this thing, man. But this is the largest cast I ever worked with. We're talking about 17 people.
Wow.
How long was the run?
We ran for 2 weekends, but they're coming back the last weekend of May, first weekend of June, back out at the Black Spectrum Theater out in Queens.
Nice.
St. Albans, Queens.
Gotcha.
So it's a fun piece, man. Oh, it's a fun piece.
Now, when you first get a script for a play, what's the first thing that you do? Like in terms of, you know, you've gotten cast in the play. You know, here's the script. What's the first thing you do?
Read everything in it for me.
Just for you,
Just for me.
just your lines.
Just find
You don't
out.
read the entire play to figure out what the play is about.
I find all my lines first.
First. You don't care about what the story's about.
I highlight everything. Then I go back and read it.
But what if you're not crazy about the storyline? You've already took the job.
Exactly. So I'm going to be doing it anyway.
Okay, so you highlight all your lines first, and then you go back and you read the play.
I read the play.
What's
then
the next step?
Then I do my homework as
Okay.
far as my character analysis,
Mm-hmm.
what other characters say about my character, what I say about myself, in these different scenes, where is he coming from, what's what they say, what's my motivation, different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do my homework to figure out exactly who this character is. Once I build that, I know why he would react to different things different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So where, let's say it might be somebody got abused by their father, got beat up by their father, they would react to their child a different way than somebody that, let's say, was shown a lot of love by their father.
Okay.
So all these things come into play once you start doing that character analysis.
Gotcha. Laz, what's your process, man? You get cast in a play, in a movie, you get the script.
Boom. First thing I do, I strip naked
Okay.
and I put lemon all over my body.
Where do you purchase the lemons
Hope
from?
it don't get no
From the-
holes, it'll sting.
From the bodega.
From the bodega, and they have enough lemons to
It's
cover
a
your entire body.
non-stinging lemon, son.
Non-stinging.
lemon.
It's a special kind of lemon.
And you put it all over.
You can have people
Got it.
running out trying to find non-stinging lemon.
And then
Yeah.
I get a trapper keeper.
And then get the
Pop
ass
that script
done.
in there.
Lisa Frank stickers all over.
Put some stickers on front. And then what I do is I highlight.
Yeah.
I highlight.
So you highlight any line. It's not just your own line.
I just highlight. I highlight the author. Highlight the director.
You just highlight all the lines.
Highlight. That's it. Highlight. It's not rocket science. Just highlight.
Got it.
Smack that puppy in there.
If you run out on highlight, you go out and buy another one.
Then I look at all the lines. Throw them right out. put
Throw
my
'em
own
right
in
out.
there. I put my own right in there.
So when you show up to rehearsal, do you have an
He gets
have an
fired the
issue?
first day. He ain't got none of the
You
lines.
have an issue with the playwright? Does the playwright or the screenwriter have any issues?
Yeah,
with
the
you?
playwright's like, listen, you're an extra in this play. You have no lines, but
I
that's
see.
okay.
You somehow access the script.
Yeah,
Got
put it in there. Put it in
Got
there.
it.
You know what I mean?
Got it.
And then what you do is you search for someone that looks kind of like you,
Yeah.
your height, and then you plan for maybe an accident down the road.
Got it.
And
And
that's
then
how
you
you
say,
move.
hey, I'm here. I can fill in for that role.
Listen, as Latinos,
Yeah.
as actors, we ain't getting no love in Hollywood.
No love.
We got to play dirty, all right? We got to go in dirty, all right? So you go in dirty.
So what, you gonna catch a sexual disease or you can go in dirty?
No, that's what the lemon is for.
Well, it makes sense now.
See how he just walked right into
Yeah,
that
he
one?
walked right in. He walked you right into the
That's what
lemons.
the lemon is for.
I like your process. I like your process.
welcome.
I feel like it's different. It's out
It's
the
different,
box.
right?
Highlighting lemon.
Hey,
Highlighting lemon.
I like
Listen.
anything yellow.
Listen, any casting directors listening right now, lasvic.com, all right?
Oh, they've already turned off the program about 10, 15 minutes ago. When he mentioned he only highlights his lines and then reads the play.
I'm telling you what I do, man. I find my scenes first. I gotta do that.
Yeah. It sounds like an audition, but it's the play. You've already been cast, which is great. Awesome. Really nice.
And anywhere I see my name, I highlight it. I
Yeah.
can come
So
back
like
and-
you pick up the program, you just start highlighting your name. Like the night of the play.
I just did, on a more serious note, I just did Jason's play, Rams, Spiritual Rams
That's right.
play. Am I allowed to say the name of the play?
Of course.
Ass.
You had fun
The
with that
name of
one,
the
didn't
play was Ass.
That's right.
you?
So I was in Ass.
Wasn't no hole in it?
I was inside of Ass. I was in Ass.
Yeah, he was in it.
You-
And I was in
you-
it too. We were
you-
both
Victor
inside
was in
the
a-
ass.
Both of
Victor
you
was in
in the
Ass.
ass.
We were both inside
I was
the
also
ass.
in Ass.
Both of y'all was in there.
You missed it. You missed the
he
ass.
was a dingleberry.
No wonder it's smelling funky in here.
Yeah.
And when I did
Both
that
of y'all
part,
was in
Dingleberry,
Ass.
in the script, it said Dingleberry once. Mr. Dingleberry. That's all it said. That's
was
my
your-
name.
that was your name?
Call me, right?
Yep.
What did I do, Vic? I added 2 more Dingleberries.
Came out.
He did. He did.
Because you can't have one dingle. It has to come in 3s, really.
Yeah.
So that's
the rule of Dingleberry.
So
like
like-
if you look it up,
You was a nasty.
it says
So
you
the
got to say it
character-
3 times. It's like
It
Beetlejuice,
comes in
but
threes.
and you guys think I'm joking. I'm being serious. The character called for me saying my name once, and that just didn't feel right.
yeah.
So I said it 3 times.
And then what, you disappeared? Dinkleberry, Dinkleberry, Dinkleberry. Poof, you disappeared.
sound like you said something else, but
Now the
continue.
director didn't. She probably understood why I did it, but it wasn't apparent until the night of the show.
Got it.
Then you understood.
She didn't fire.
Right?
She didn't fire you.
I totally understood. I
Victor
got it.
understood.
I understood.
Who was the director, by the way?
It was
it a woman named Enlightenment?
Guru Enlightenment.
Ooh, Guru.
She
go.
directed the
I'm
play.
surprised she didn't smack you.
Now
know how she
I was
works.
having a little trouble, and Guru on the last night she said, "Chew some gum." Put
on stage.
on stage, which is a no. You never do that. That's like the. And I'm like, really chew. So I, she's
Somebody
the director,
lying.
right?
Somebody lying.
So I chewed, and I made the character. Just finished it. You know how you just missing that one piece?
Yep.
And it just, bloop, it just kind of closed the whole thing for me. Great little note. Who knew? The one rule of the theater you could break, and that's what I'm talking about. You got to learn the rules.
Say
to break.
something as the character chewing gum.
Do you have gum for him?
I don't have gum.
He doesn't.
I'm
have
a
any gum at
method
the
actor.
moment.
Gil?
Method actor, right?
I'm a method actor.
Imagine a piece
Imagine's
of
not
gum.
here.
You have to imagine a piece of gum. That's what sense memory is all about. Actually think about that gum and the texture and how it chews, and then say that line while you're chewing that gum.
We've got some gum from our friends here at the studio.
Yeah, but is it sugar
So
free?
you just
Is it
put your-
sugar-free?
You just put your finger in it.
Is it sugar free gum?
Yeah. You have to put it in your dingleberry first, and then chew it.
That's a great idea. Let's chew gum on a podcast.
Yeah, right.
But now, Gil, that thing about sense memory, that's a choice, though. That's not what you have to do.
No, you don't have to do it.
But you said it like he has to do
Yeah,
it.
in his case, he has to.
Why? It's a choice.
Sense memory, huh?
The boss said you could do it, so it's all right.
Well, I'm not his boss. I mean,
Well, she's his boss for the show.
well, yeah. Well, she's the director, so
Exactly.
she called the shots. No, I'm just saying, like, that's a choice, right? I mean, you could or could not, I mean, I think chewing gum on stage, I mean, it's going to come with its thing. But in your case, the character worked.
It worked. Amazing.
How do we know it worked? Oh, you were there. Oh, you were there. I forgot.
I was there, Gil. I was there. So
Victor, you gave quite a performance that night as well. I gotta commend you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Now, I got a question now. The name of the play was Ass.
Ass. Yes.
All right. So whose ass are we talking about in this play?
You had to be there. You had to be there.
All of y'all asses.
And you see how his mind directly goes to.
I just want to know all of y'all asses.
He wants to know if there was like a giant ass, and did we walk in?
Look, I seen you come out of a giant something else one day in a play, so ain't nothing surprises me.
That
no
was
more.
many years ago. I am a changed man.
Yo, you had to see this play.
Really?
He came down to Miami to do a show. I got to go see this
That's
show.
right. I remember when you.
I went to go see the show, and he was coming out of giant vagina like this.
Damn, really?
Well, listen, I came out of a vagina when I was born. It's not like it's something, woo, you know?
You're coming out of a vagina that size now, but I'm telling you, it's splitting somebody wide open.
So how'd you feel doing that part in Ass?
In Ass,
Especially that speech, that emotional part.
You had to make an ass speech?
Victor
No.
had an emotional speech in the middle of the play.
Yeah, so what happened was I had just played in a Wilda-esque version of this character.
So you was in drag.
Yeah, I was in drag, and I came out, and
That's right, which was very personal for me. We're not going to say, but it was a very personal.
we'll talk after this interview.
All right.
But yeah, so I had just done that.
What did I just walk into over here? What's going on?
So I had just done that character. I mean, the audience was on fire. I mean, it was like out of control. I definitely threw in all sorts of improvised lines, just because I had to.
Super funny.
You threw in lines.
I threw a bunch of lines in there.
Doing that
Who wrote
super
that
funny.
Jason Rambolito, Spiritual Ram.
So he didn't tell you to stop changing his words?
No, they gave me full permission to just go, and
That's a sweet feeling, isn't it?
No, it was great, man. It was
And so
great for that character specifically.
That juxtaposition where you're super funny, and then you got to jump to the opposite extreme.
So then I had to be an alcoholic. I had to literally, like, I was very emotional.
That's a far stretch.
I don't drink like that.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. It's been a long time.
So now you know.
Wow. Side of Victor I never knew.
You can draw from experiences.
You make it sound like I was like, like I had a problem and I was in denial. Hey, Victor, you got a problem. You need to go to a program. No, I don't.
I'm not drunk. You're drunk.
I just drink to be sociable.
All right, what are you talking about? Just to clarify for people
Now you just
don't
drink
know the story.
3 or 4 White
I
Claws
will
a day.
kill you.
I only drink. I take shots in the morning.
That's
At
it.
least 6 shots of Johnny
Quick
Walker.
shot to get started.
Black Label. Just start my day, and I'm good. But that's not being alcoholic. Anyways, no, but years ago when I did stand up, and Gil would be there too. He'd be handing me a Corona, and I'm like, all right, cool. And then one Corona led to another. Then
It's very easy to be an alcoholic as a comic. Very
because
easy.
there's drinks
free drinks.
available.
Free drinks.
Sometimes not free, but sometimes it's discounted. He's like, I don't play at a club where I have to pay for a drink.
Yeah,
Sometimes you go to clubs
And you
they
see
charge
those comics that are in those clubs that they're in their 20
Some
years.
comics had to stop. The clubs had to stop serving free alcohol to some of the comics because they would abuse it.
Yeah, they would just be so drunk they couldn't even deliver their
I
lines.
seen a guy drink damn near a whole bottle of Jack one night before he went on
Damn.
stage. Then went up on stage and was just all over the place. Just,
But in his mind, he's like,
yeah,
killing.
He was killing.
Yeah. No, and you have a certain comfort level. Like you're totally
do.
loose. Like, well, if y'all don't laugh, I don't
And
care.
it's tempting, right? It's tempting to have that drink
Or
to
in Victor's
loosen up.
case, if y'all don't laugh, bitch, I'll kill you.
And it's tempting to have that. It's tempting to have it.
Yeah, one night, I think you were there too. I don't know if
Yeah,
you were there.
that
Was he
night.
there?
This is what triggers me, man. What makes me laugh is this is one of the nicest. Both of y'all, two of the nicest guys I know. But this dude is like just so damn nice.
Yeah, I gotta stop.
He
being
got a
nice.
couple of beers in him and just snapped it to
Really?
death. He told he was talking. He went up on stage and some people were talking. And out of nowhere, he said, could you calm down? I'm trying to talk. And he went back and they kept going. He said, all of a sudden he said, they said something to him. He said, bitch, I will kill you. And I was telling her, I said, Victor, no, you didn't. He said, oh, no, I'm just joking. I said, no, you ain't.
Wow.
And that's when I told her, I said, Bitch,
my God.
Be quiet. He will kill you.
And I waited for her after the show. No.
Crazy, yo. I'm angry. I don't think I've seen Victor ever angry, like really angry.
He snapped. I ain't never
Yeah.
That should be a goal for us for this year. Is piss him off.
pissed him off.
Oh, no, you don't want to piss me off.
I've seen him pissed off.
Yeah. He's seen me.
Couple of times. Couple of times.
I don't know why Gil is the one that's always
I know,
there
right?
to
Why?
see me.
They put me with him so
Gil is my sponsor.
To make sure he don't go too far.
Gil is my sponsor.
Wow.
He helped me get my first chip.
I didn't know you had such rage issues.
No, I don't.
Just kidding.
And so honestly, I don't really drink at all today, honestly. And the truth is, I stopped drinking before doing stand up because actually Guru told me to stop drinking. She said, "Don't drink before you do stand up."
No, don't drink. Period.
Well, she said, "Don't drink before you do stand up." Like that was the start of it.
Yeah.
She said because you don't need it.
Yeah.
Why are you drinking before you're gonna do stand up? Well, you want to loosen up. You want to feel more comfortable. You have the power to make these people laugh without it.
Yep.
And so in the beginning, it was terrifying because it's like, oh my
Right?
God, I can't have
You take the edge off.
Well, those first couple of years, right, as a comic, every time you go on stage, I mean, at least for me, the first few years.
Well, when I first started, I was
like,
16.
I couldn't even eat.
So I was only sipping on
Yeah.
Pepsi at the bar. My mom
I
was
couldn't
there.
even eat food before going on stage when I started.
Yeah.
Because I was so, I felt like I was going to puke every night.
Always had to take a dump
Like
before
just
the show.
to force myself on stage night after night.
Yep.
I mean, I had to force myself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But now I could eat a rack of lamb and be fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now I could be like having a whole like big old Thanksgiving
Yeah. I
dinner
could have,
before
like,
the show, and I'm good to go.
Not you, Vic.
I could have a nice,
Well, don't be mad at me because you can't afford no food, or
could have a
your mama
nice, like-
keeps the food locked away from you.
big, heavy.
You had to go there, right, Vic? You had to go there.
Have some big, heavy barbecue ribs right before the show.
You want some ribs, don't you? I could tell.
Yeah, is this almost over? Or?
Dude, somebody hungry over here.
Yeah, that making me hungry. But no, but it's true. I would always have to take a dump before the shows. Like I'd have to have a big dump. It was my nerves.
Yeah.
I was totally nervous. But if I took a dump and didn't eat nothing, I was fine. But then I get a headache because back then they were smoking in the clubs.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
So you would sit there and you would wait forever to go up on stage and then finally get there. By the time you got up there, you had a cigarette headache.
Yeah,
well, you used
cigarette
to
high.
smoke, so it didn't matter. You know,
Didn't bother me.
It was like,
It was Gil smoking
I'm in
next
heaven.
to you.
Yeah, it was Gil smoking next to me.
The one thing I learned as a comedian is you shouldn't be high in any manner, shape, or form before you go on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that you can't have like a beer, take the edge off, feel kind of good and whatnot, but I'm talking about like, smoking weed and that kind of stuff. Sure, it might be your taste and what you do, and you might have comics that do that. Not every comic can do that. I've seen situations where people be on stage, they'll smoke before they go up there, and all of a sudden something happens and they can't regroup. You know, it's like, oh, damn. All of a sudden you start getting paranoid and you don't know which way to go. So it's best to be on top of your game, because if something goes down during the course of that show, you're good. But if you're in a room that you do every week and you used to it, most time you can go and do whatever you want to do because you're used to the crowd. Doesn't intimidate you, you're good. But when you go to a new room you've never been to before, and you're not sure how this audience is going to respond.
Yeah, and when you go to a new room without even drinking, it's already a challenge.
Scary.
Because you have to find this room, the acoustics, the sound falls right in the front of the audience. So I have to project now to the back. So that's the trick of this room. This room, I'm too far away from the audience. So I got to literally walk into the audience. Like every room has its trick, its thing.
Yeah.
So you can imagine adding alcohol on top of that. How are you going to figure that out?
For sure. It's crazy. Like there's so many different types of rooms, and having to get used to that. It's like when you rehearse for a play in one space and then you go into the theater.
Yep.
Something changes. You're in a new environment.
It's like I was in this play once, 1930s hotel. It was, and I was rehearsing on this couch for weeks where I had to roll off the couch. It was a comedy thing. I would roll off the couch. The day of the show, they bring in a new couch with
So you have to
a
get
wooden
used to it.
back, like a big fancy
Oh
couch.
wow!
Not
so
a
you
little.
couldn't do the thing you were doing before.
I still had to do it, you know. But I went over and messed up my back
Wow.
because I hadn't rehearsed with it.
Wow, that's something.
That's one of the reasons why you always, as an actor, before showtime, you try to get to the stage early, before they open the house, so you can check your props or whatever the case may be, anything you got to work with. Because if it's not there or something changes, it's going to change the whole dimension of what you're doing, and you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems. You know, it's like I used to hate seeing somebody. Now this person's supposed to be drinking a glass of water. We all know there's no water in there. But when you see the person act like they drinking the water, and you can tell there's no water in there, it's like, oh, that's a poor actor. I was doing a show. This kid is walking across the stage eating potato chips. The bag's not open. He's like, and I'm sitting there
The
going,
budget was low on that production. He had to save the chips for the final night.
I asked him, I said, I had to ask him, I said, why were you acting like you was eating potato chips? He said, oh, because I don't like these chips. I said, man, just eat one.
True. He was an actor. True diva, no.
This is professional theater, man. Eat one. You know, at least look like you're doing something. It's crazy out here, man.
And the other thing is that people can see everything you do in the theater. It doesn't matter if there's 10 people on the stage. People can see you, right? People don't realize that they can see you.
Yep.
So this is one actor one time in a play, and the director's like, I'll make up a name, Andrew. Andrew, you got to pretend like you're reading the book. You can't look at the audience, because he was like acting like this. Like, he's reading the book, looking at the audience. And then this is how he would turn the page. And he would turn the page. And he's like,
Still looking at the audience.
Still looking directly.
He's looking for his mom and dad.
And the director's
Where
like,
they sit.
Andrew, look down at the book.
Now let me ask you guys something. How do you guys handle fear, nervousness?
Fear's good, man. I like
anxiety
fear.
before you go on the stage.
If I didn't have fear, I wouldn't do it. Fear is the drive. The fear is the thrill, right? If you don't have fear, just go home, chill, and watch TV.
So you mean like you it's like you're afraid to jump from here to there, or afraid to jump into the pool, afraid to take the first step, but it's exciting to do it.
You know, the good thing about comedy is that you never know what's going to happen that night. Half the time you don't know where you're going, who you're going to meet, who you're going to see, what are you going to say. Half of the time, like, I have my act, but I have my other part where it just comes out, and that's exciting, and that's part of the excitement is fear.
It's even more scary when you go into a room that you know is a vicious room. Like, I think the most scared I ever was in my life was the first time I did the Apollo. It was like, oh my God, these people are gonna boo me if I'm not funny. So you have to basically work through that.
And the Apollo's even harder on comics.
And I found that the best way to work through that is the amount of force that you hit that room with. It's the energy that you hit that room with. If you come up there and just try to be like cool and suave and I'm just gonna work my way through this, they will eat you alive.
And I think that's the trick too, is being real, right? If you can be, the more yourself you can be, the more they'll respond to you, right? So if you're going, hey, I'm a comic, they're not gonna respond to that, you know? They're gonna respond to something real, right? Because they're feeling it. They're coming here. They're coming to your show. Why? Because they had a long week. Because they
want to laugh.
The
and
kids
Friday
going
nights
crazy.
are the hardest nights.
Right, yeah. So Friday, Saturday night.
They're exhausted, but they want to get out and do something.
So they want to be jarred out of their monotonous, day or whatever, and you're there to jar them,
How dangerous is it for the comedian to go on stage and seek approval from the audience?
Very.
Super dangerous.
Talk to me about that.
You can never seek approval from the audience. It's not going to work.
I think that's one of the reasons why you have so many. People don't realize how many comedians are really depressed people, and you got a lot of comedians that commit suicide and stuff like that, and people are trying to figure out. A lot of them are just sad, and it's because of the fact that they're looking for the approval of the people out there in the audience. Regardless of, you're not gonna like we used to say back in the day. Baseball players ain't gonna hit a home run every time they get up to the plate. You're gonna strike out a certain number of times. Matter of fact, you're gonna strike out more than you hit home runs. So the key to it is you gotta stay constant, and you just basically work to be better next time. If you have a bad show, I remember I used to do a bad show and I feel bad, I'm like, man, but I couldn't wait to get back on stage to do it better next time so I could walk off feeling better.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and in the
That's
early
key.
days, I used to seek approval. It's something that you just do. You would seek approval from the audience, and then
And
you
roundabout way we
learn.
still do. And roundabout
Yeah,
way
no
we
way
still
you
do,
still do.
you
But
know.
then you learn, because in the early days, what do you do as a comic? You start blaming the audience for your bad sets.
Right.
Right? It's the audience has nothing to do with your set. Nothing. And that's part of the approval thing. So once you let that go, the great thing about comedy is once you let that go, and you're right what you're saying, a lot of comics are depressed, including myself. I went through depression because I'm seeking that approval, right? Whether it's from my father, the audience, whatever. Once I let that go, once you let that go, that whole fame thing.
Yeah, I
and
just don't care. I'm gonna have a good time. I know I'm talking
if you're
about
having a
something
good
that's
time,
funny.
if you love the art, you've already won. You won.
I know I'm talking about something that I feel is funny to me. So you came out to see this comedy show, so just enjoy the ride. You know, don't.
And let me tell you something else. The great thing about being a comic is hanging out with other comics, right? Because it's the best thing. Like, you get the actual comedy show is backstage. Right?
Yeah.
The actual real jokes.
Like the jokes you hear back there.
Those are the real jokes that you will never hear.
Unless you're hanging out with miserable comics, the ones like, hey, I can't stand these guys.
Yeah.
Just
gotta
everything is
find the right group.
negative. Man, don't hit me with no negativity. I'm about to go on stage and do a set.
So
Or sometimes, what about comedians who try jokes on you? Like, instead of just having a real conversation with you,
And they get
they're
mad if you do it
constantly
first.
trying bits on you.
You gave it to me, so I tried it.
So as the comedian is trying bits on you, you just take them. You take the bits with you.
Yo, I seen that happen one night, man. We were sitting in the back, and there was a woman in the audience that looked like the woman the woman from Poltergeist. Come to the light. She looked just like her.
Carolyn.
So you know you be sitting.
This house is clean.
Before we go out to do our show, you know, most comics we looking at people in the audience going, "Ooh, look at this! Ooh, look at that person! Look at that person!" You know. Sure enough, we were sitting there, and we seen this woman walking. I said, "Man, don't she look like come to the light?" So
Carolyn! Carolyn!
sure enough, we had another comic that was featuring for us, right?
Yeah.
And he went up and said, "Oh, we got a guest in the house. Come to the light." And my partner got mad because he's like, "Yo, man, he shouldn't let me do that." I said, "Yo, man, it was just out in the air. We was having a funny time, laughing, talking about it.
Yeah.
He got it off, man. Let him get it off. You know, don't be mad."
And so now, what do you like? Now it's with this whole woke culture, right? Do you find yourself as a comic pulling back or giving more? Or
I work the same way I always did, because I tend to I stay away from certain issues anyway. So I try to stay away from politics. I may dibble and dabble with, let's say, a racial joke, but the way I would do it would be more about me talking about myself than me going after somebody in the audience. Whereas back in the day, that's what we did, man. We got out on stage and we tore everybody up. From we didn't care what color you were, where you were from, whatever. If you was in the front of the audience, you was getting it that night. That was, and it was fun. And half the time the people are enjoying it as well.
Yeah.
But it got to a point where you could say something. I remember we were doing a show one night, and we had a guy that was in the audience, and we was messing with him, and he was laughing his ass off at the end of the show. But there was somebody was sitting with him that was just, you could see the person was steamed. They went to the club owner and said, I believe they should apologize to my friend. So this is a comedy club. And your friend didn't have a complaint. Why are you complaining?
Right.
Maybe you mad because we didn't mess with you. You know, it's a comedy club. If you can't take a comedy, if you can't take
you
a
can't
joke,
please everybody all the time.
Exactly. So you just do the best you can. You have fun. Nobody's ever gonna please 100% of your audience.
Yeah, I did it. That gig at the college, Bronx Community College, and I was nervous because these are young now. You know, comics are saying, "Oh, you go to colleges now. Everybody's woke. You got to be careful what you say." And I did what you said. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do my set. I'm not gonna worry about it. And I went, and those kids were great, man. They were so open minded, and the thing about it was is that I just spoke to them, not at them.
Right.
Spoke to them, kind of, trying to find out as much as I could about the school before the gig.
Right.
They called a Latinx. I don't know how do you
Like Kleenex?
Latinx.
Like Kleenex?
Latinx.
Yeah.
It was a Latinx event,
a
and I
Latinx
knew
event.
I'm old school.
Never heard of it.
That was a new thing. See, he's even an older school.
Lennox Avenue? That's on Lennox Avenue?
So there's Latino, Latina, and now
You would.
Latinx,
Latinx.
which encompasses all of us.
Was that Terminator X?
Go get him a lemon.
Oh, my man.
So,
Somebody knew. No, I don't want to live
so
in
the
no
first thing I said was, I didn't pretend like I knew what that was. I said, "What is this Latinx?"
So you want to explain it to me? What is it?
And I was like, sounds like a superhero to me.
Explain it to me.
Latinx.
It's like the Latino division in X-Men.
So instead of calling people Latino, which is male,
It's got a
has an
masculine
X.
ending.
Latino, Latina.
Latino, Latina, right.
So now they put an X so that it encompasses everybody.
encompasses
Kiss
everybody.
what is this, man? What is going on?
Is this the first time you're hearing this?
Yeah.
Really? You didn't know about Latin
They don't have that in
X?
Miami?
So if you light skin or dark skin, you could be American X, Black X, or American Light X, or what is this? Is just foolishness,
Latin
man.
X.
No, because
Get with the times, Gil. Get with the times.
Did you tell him not to hit the table?
You're not woke.
I never heard about
can
no.
you turn on the TV sometime, Gil? Could you go down a feed?
I thought
on
X-Lax.
Facebook.
You've been watching Netflix for too many years.
Now, I thought
Not
X-Lax
even.
was a Muslim.
He's just been watching
I don't
old
know what y'all
VHS
talking about.
tapes, watching Turner and Hooch at his house, just old tapes.
No, that was an ugly dog. I didn't watch that.
Lethal Weapon 1 and 2.
That I
back
watched.
to back.
You gotta-
Because I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, I'm too old for this.
You gotta explore past the UHF channel, Gil. You gotta get past the UHF channel.
Just watching the Kung Fu flicks, Five Fingers of Death.
I'm still back when we was Negroes. I don't know what you're talking about. Latinx.
Latinx.
That's like my sister. She was born in another country. They call it mestizo.
What?
I said, what the hell? I'm born here. My birth certificate is Negro. I said, what is the difference? We brother and sister. Matter of fact, she darker than me. How come?
Don't matter. Everybody getting deported. So
Yeah, we're all going. After this interview.
It's nice knowing you guys.
No, we taking you with it. We're going to tell you Latino.
I'm black.
And now you're black, huh?
I'm black. I'm blacker than black.
So let me ask you guys a question. When you walk into an audition room for a play or a movie, that whole sense of approval, does that exist in that environment, and how do you deal with that?
It does exist.
Is it similar to the stand-up?
it used to exist for me. Not anymore. Not no more.
Not no more.
When I go into an audition room,
He done turned black all of a sudden. He's Negro now.
He
Not
doesn't
more.
want to get deported. Is that what it is?
He was down south for a minute.
once I go into the audition room,
Yeah.
and after I do my highlight, I'm good, son.
He's highlight.
It's highlight.
I don't.
Where you going, Hawaii now? What's going on here?
I enjoy auditioning. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like. You know what it is? Because I'm a comic.
that makes
I
one of us.
love awkwardness. Right. Sometimes I'll be on stage and I'll just be silent and stare at them because I love it. I love them being uncomfortable. You know
do
what I
that
mean?
in an audition?
So I love in the audition. Yeah.
It works.
For my own entertainment.
I kill you.
Don't bring that guy back no more.
For my own
kill
entertainment.
you.
Give me the creeps.
For my own entertainment, I will do whatever I want to do. And then I'll go home laughing, giggling to myself.
After security has escorted him out.
No. But at the audition room, I don't care anymore. I just do it.
But what if you really want the role, though?
What do you mean if I really want the role?
What if you really want the role?
So what does that mean, actually?
What does that mean?
What you're saying.
Yeah,
what does
I
that
get
mean?
it.
If you
I'm
really,
saying-
really want the role, do you start acting a certain kind of way?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you really want a particular role,
Mm-hmm.
all right.
When
This
I
is a
walk
role
in-
that you saying to yourself.
It's gonna change my life.
This role can change my life. This is my role. Let's say it might be co-starring in something that's going to be seen around the world, or it's going to be on the Broadway stage.
You know how actors.
How do you
say-
approach that
How actors say in the audition, don't choke. I literally choked at an audition.
You
Started
choked
to
at an
choke at an ABC audition.
I think they said don't choke.
They
It was
said don't
in the
choke,
movie
and
8
I
Mile.
literally started to choke in the middle of the audition.
Did you get the part? No. Well, maybe you
But
should.
if I really want the role, the last thing I want to do is care. Because if I care, I'm going to be in my own head. And if I'm in my own head, I'm going to mess it up.
You think by really wanting to, this is a good thing you're just saying, you start to do things that you think are going to get you the role?
Yes. Ignorance is bliss. Most of the good roles I've gotten is by mistake.
You know what though? I found that my best auditions are when I really just don't care.
Exactly.
When I go in there feeling like, well,
Like you're not in a certain type
Because
of
you know
control.
what? Every role can change your
I'm
life.
just going ahead. I'm going to have fun.
Yeah.
You know, and 9 out of 10 times that's when I get the role. When I just
Yeah,
go in and
just
just
the
have
fact
a good
that you show up to that audition means that you need the role. That's just the fact that you're showing up means you want the role, right? So I try not to. I mean, of course, you're human. You're gonna get a little nervous,
Of course.
but I do things to try to relax. Is that it?
Are you leaving?
carry on.
I assume he has to go to the restroom while we continue talking.
Yes. So.
No, I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it.
And now a message from the AARP.
Are you still paying high prices on those cell phones?
Do you
Yes,
find it
sir.
hard to sleep at night? Do you get strange pimples for no reason? Do you get aroused morning, noon, and night? Or do you frequently have wet dreams? If these are your problems, then you may be suffering from the well-known disease, sometimes called
Lemonitis.
Hala, hala, hala. What did you do?
Lackanucky or lackanicki, depending on whether you're male or female. This is caused by a lack of either vitamin P or vitamin D. So get yours soon. I ate one, you ate one too. Contact me.
Oh, man.
It's so funny because I can.
1-800.
I can hear in Gil's voice him stopping himself from cursing.
Yeah.
You got that, didn't you? You got that.
I can pick.
You got that,
I
didn't you?
can pick that up.
I'm like, no, can't say
Guilty,
that.
totally filtered, you know? So yeah, so there's a different effect we were just talking about, right? When you don't care as much,
It's not
the better
maybe
version.
not caring is the wrong word for it.
Well, what I mean by this is that you're not so concerned with what the audience is thinking or wants or what you think they want because you don't know what they want.
You don't know. You just don't know. And you walk into the part, you don't know what they're looking for. You have no idea.
So are we still talking about auditioning, or are we talking about now doing the actual role?
No, we were just talking about, so, I kind of brought in like stand up, like when you go up on stage and you're searching for approval and then going into the room to audition, there's a sense of like, I'm seeking approval. But what happens the moment you no longer are looking for approval? What happens? And it looks like that's actually when we're doing our best, when we're not inside our heads, which is fantastic.
Same thing with stand-up, kind of, right? When you're not in your own head, you just go up there nice and loose.
And you just let the material
Let the material come out.
just let it flow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I found some of my best shows are when I'm actually having as much fun, if not more fun, than the audience.
Yeah.
On shows like that. And
I know I'm having a hot show when I almost make myself laugh. Like, that's how I know I'm, like, it's a killer show.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm almost laughing at my own stuff that I've heard 1,000 times.
No, I'm talking about there's times when I'm on stage and something averts my attention and I deal with that for about 2 minutes and it's hilarious and you're like, oh man, I got to remember this stuff later, and half the time you don't.
You don't.
Because you're just on a high. And when you got those kind of audiences where, all right, well look, I know I got to do a half an hour. And then you get up there and you're supposed to be doing a half an hour. Next thing you know, you're at 45 minutes and you've only used 5 minutes of that half an hour you had lined up. That's what
right.
it's like. That's when you know you're just vibing. And it's one of the best shows you can ever have.
My favorite time doing jokes is when I feel like I'm joking with my friends. Because when I joke with my friends is when I'm actually having the most fun.
Yeah.
Like when I'm hanging out with you guys, I'm having the most fun. If I don't feel like that up there, if I feel like I'm working too hard to be funny, then I know it's not going good.
You're being a clown. You know, you're trying to be a clown, or you're trying to rush through this joke to get to the punchline because they didn't get the last punchline. That's when you can either struggle or you can have your backup plan. Backup plan is usually, all right, this particular line of jokes is not working, so let me skip past.
Switch gears.
And swing into something else. That's why it's also a good idea sometimes to watch who goes on before you. And you notice, ooh, this crowd really got a kick out of that particular line of jokes or that particular thing. So maybe I can
Exactly.
Now, what do I have in my repertoire for that? Maybe I can grab them with that, and then we can just ride out from there.
Right.
And it's a feeling. It's like if you can grab it, it takes years to get this. It's if you can go on stage and you feel it, right? So if you're doing a set and it's not working, you know to switch gears, and you'll know that it's working because the feeling will change, right?
Yeah.
The audience becomes one, for me at least, becomes one blob, one entity, one person in a way that I'm talking to. And that blob kind of like ebbs and flows, and sometimes the waves will get real high, and sometimes the waves will get real low. And you just got to jump on that and tame it. Tame that blob. Ride it.
You think the audience kind of like unconsciously comes together as one?
Yes, because
One
think
team.
about it. How is it? Isn't it an amazing thing that we go up there, we tell a joke, and everybody laughs at the same time? Everybody kind of like knows and laughs at the same places.
Or they can get offended all at the same time.
Yeah, they get offended at the same time. You say the
Right.
wrong thing, all of them, not one.
Or they could all boo you at the same
Or they
time.
all boo you. It's like one
The
entity.
room just goes.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Because-
That's right. That's a good point. It just suddenly
When we're
super
watching a
silent.
movie in the movie theater, all of us are in it. Something happens. We all react at the same time.
That's right.
And it's our reactions are amplified by each other. So if you're in your house, you're gonna have the same reaction, but not as big as if you're with a group of people.
Well, it's almost like when you're doing a particular line of jokes. I notice, like, if I'm doing a show with a predominantly white audience, and I've got a handful of black people in the audience, and I might say a joke pertaining to me and them being black. 9 out of 10 times, half of the audience looks at the black people. If they don't laugh, they won't laugh. But if they see they laughing, okay. So
It's okay to laugh.
And it's such a quick reaction. It's such a quick thing in your brain you don't even think about. But you're connecting with other people.
Right.
Right? So and the other unfortunate thing in comedy is that we're only your best on live stage. So when someone records our set, unless it's professionally recorded, it falls to the ground. That energy just falls.
Because you don't hear the crowd.
And that's why you see a lot of comics that are so good that never get discovered, because you really got to see them live
Gotcha.
to get the magic.
Right. Because you got to see the person in the audience they're talking about.
Yeah, so I
Like
can
if
post
something
my
happens-
setup all day, but it's not going to have the same effect as if you're with me in the same room.
You'd have to shoot it a certain kind of way.
You would have to shoot it professionally, like
professionally.
HBO special kind of.
somebody's
got
gotta be on the stage with
But even
you.
that, like Chris Rock, you see Chris Rock on HBO, it's different than seeing him
Right.
for real. You see
In-
him for
in the
real,
club.
it's much
In the
more
club.
powerful, right?
Yeah.
So comedy loses its magic, its power, once it leaves that live.
Now, do you notice that when most comics, when it's not going right, you're not getting that response that you're supposed to be getting from a lot of comics, in order to regroup, they'll spend a certain amount of time talking to the audience in order to find something that maybe I can find something here, and then, all right, now I've thought about it enough. I don't mess with the audience for me. Now I know. Let me go this way now.
Yeah, that's how you guys doing tonight? You know, where you from? You're thinking.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't. Most audience members don't know that these guys.
And you know, lately I've been hating to say that. I've been trying to stop myself from being.
Hey,
you know,
what's
how many
going on?
couples?
Hey, who's
all those
dating?
stock-
Who's married?
I've been trying to stay away from it, but I use that to think. So now I gotta find new things.
We all do, and that's what most. And then you have other comics that as soon as they do a joke that falls flat,
Then they try to do crowd work.
then they start picking on the audience.
Right,
You
and start
know,
attacking them as if as if it's their fault, or that they're gonna find a gem in doing that.
Like they stupid or something.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a way you can do it without basically alienating the audience. You know, you say, oh, so you know, yeah. Oh, so that just went over y'all head. Okay, well, let me go to, you know. But you can't just basically beat your audience up because they're not enjoying your set.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna have a bad set. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Not everybody's gonna love me. So if I have a bad set, I'll switch gears. But if I continue to bomb, then I'm just gonna embrace the bomb.
But what if when you're performing on stage, you never ever look for approval from the audience, and the entire time you are completely free, creating, trying out material to the fullest, right? Because you could write a joke, you can come up with an idea, and you get on stage, and you might pull back on the energy because you might feel insecure. Maybe it's not gonna work. Maybe it will. So if you are just completely free and you bomb, do you lose?
No.
Because you gave it a shot.
Yeah.
You gave it a shot.
In fact, when I don't bomb for a long time, I start getting nervous. I'm like, I need to bomb soon because
Dude, speak for yourself.
I need to get it out of the way. I need to get it out of the way.
I never think about that. But the one thing that I've been thinking about these days, because I'm definitely in a place now where I want to build a new show, completely new show, but I don't want to build it the way I used to. Because for me, I used to build a show or build jokes from fear, in the sense that I was looking for approval from the audience, for sure. But now I want to go and bring the audience to me. And if you don't like the joke, you don't like the joke. I'm not going to be able to please everybody here, but I don't mean that like in an FU attitude.
Yeah, as long as you're true to yourself.
I want to be true to myself the entire time. So even if I bomb in that state, I could still walk away and go, man, but finally.
That's where I'm at.
I'm free, baby.
But you still, the bottom line, though, you want your audience to laugh and enjoy themselves.
You do.
You want that. And you want them leaving with their side hurting, tears coming out the eyes. You want that. But if you're not getting that, don't try to kill yourself to find it. You know, continue to go along, because if you're a professional, you're going to have to do the time in order to get paid anyway.
Right.
So if they're not getting particular things you're doing, maybe you can jump around and see, well, maybe I can grab from here. Because if you think about the amount of material that we all have, you've got years of material. You can always pull this piece out and slide something else in, you know, and work it like that. That's the way we work. So if this group of jokes here ain't working, all right, well, hey, let me pull this one over here and try it out. Or early, you might be sitting down and see somebody told a joke about something that you have in your repertoire. Ooh, I know that'll go over. So it's about having it in your back pocket so you can always go, all right, well, all right, so y'all ain't getting that, but you know what?
Yeah.
I got a joke for y'all or something like that. And you just pull it out and boom, and hit it. Possibly you might get them, and if not.
And then on the other side of the extreme, you know, I've done shows where the power of comedy is so, it's so present that I did a show where it was a lot of old people, and there was this one old lady with an oxygen tank, and I was making her laugh so hard that in my head I was like,
she gonna die.
if I kill her,
then you really killed.
I'll be on the news tomorrow, right? And in my head I was like, I could hit her with one more, or I could stop here.
Hit again.
And I was genuinely concerned for this woman.
Yeah.
And she was laughing that hard.
Yeah.
That they were like patting her on the back.
Right.
You know?
That's
and
a good thing,
I
man.
could finish it off.
That's a good thing.
And be in the news tomorrow, or I can just
Laughter's healing.
it was like that.
She was good, man.
But
was crazy.
But if that's the way she was gonna go out,
That's
she would have gone out happy.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a good way to go, man.
Or maybe after that night she never had to use that that tank again.
I was tempted, son.
You laughed. You made her laugh all the stuff out. Might be nice, man. You're like a doctor. You could be like a doctor.
I am like a doctor. That's what I tell people all the time.
Dr. Fingerton, come here.
So let me ask you guys: what inspired you to want to do comedy? What inspired you to want to be actors? When did you know? What was the thing that, you know, when did you, as they say, what do they say about the bug? Get bit by the bug?
The acting bug.
The acting or the comedy bug?
I'll let you go first, Les.
I was hit for the comedy bug before I could even remember watching The Honeymooners. Ralph
Honeymooners.
Cramden made me want to be comic. That was it. So I was like 5 watching The Honeymooners.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it for me.
Nice.
So.
How about you, Gil?
It's a good one and it's a bad one.
Oh, yeah?
What made me decide to want to do stand-up was watching Bill Cosby on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Okay.
And then,
Is that the one he did the Frankenstein bit?
No, that's when he did My Brother Russell and I.
Okay.
But they were jumping on the bed, and, you know, that was one moment. And the next moment was when we decided to do The Wizard of Oz. in elementary school.
Okay.
And I got to play the scarecrow. That was it. I remember skipping down that aisle doing that scarecrow saying, "Ooh, I want to do this the rest of my life," you know. and that's real talk. That's real talk.
Nice.
That's when I got bit.
How about you?
For me, you know, as a kid, I was like what they call like a latchkey kid. I was home by myself a lot. So, you know, my best friend was the TV. And, you know, I just watched every show. That was the thing that kept me comforted. And, you know, I wanted to be a part of all those shows.
Yeah.
You know, so I think early on I was like, yeah, I want to be a part of that world. But I didn't quite know till later. In terms of comedy, it's interesting because comedy growing up was kind of like a weapon that you needed to have in the neighborhood. Like, you had to protect yourself. If you didn't have the best looking sneakers, if your clothes weren't the best,
Your mama.
you better have a good comeback. Otherwise, they will get you every day. I had a lot of cousins that were really funny. They were just vicious in the way they would come after each other and like at family gatherings. And I would go, man, I want to be funny like that. I mean, these guys are killing it. Like, if I could have them when these kids are picking on me about my sneakers, whew, I'll be all right. And then growing up as a kid, I remember my parents loved stand-up. So we would always watch, like, whatever they were watching, I was watching. So I would watch, you know, George Carlin, Richard Pryor. I'm watching Eddie Murphy.
Nice.
And these guys, you know, I'm watching anything my parents are watching. That means that at a young age, I'm seeing movies I probably should not be watching. But, hey, you know, geez, who shows a child The Exorcist? But I watched that and over and over and over again. That was a funny movie.
It was a funny movie. It was funny to watch everybody in the theater jump.
Right.
You know, when I see now, I was like, oh my God, this is a movie?
Yeah, because, I mean, The Exorcist still stands as like one of the scariest movies, at least to me.
I remember being in a movie theater when it was all quiet, watching the remake of The Exorcist when they came out with the remaster and everything's quiet.
Oh, my God.
And the whole movie theater's quiet. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you want some popcorn?
Now, but I love watching, of course, you know, you love watching these movies in the neighborhood because the folks in your community, like, there's no filter. They don't care. They're like, yo, this is how I feel in this moment, and
Don't
you're
go
gonna
in
hear
that
about
room,
it.
bitch. What's wrong with you? There's nothing funny that.
Oh my God, but that bitch is so stupid. Why would she do that? You know? If I was there, I would have punched him in the face.
dude.
No, he didn't. Yes, he did.
Because if Jason was in my house, I'd be like, yo, you look like you work for housing. Fix my air conditioner. You know? It's
Dude,
like,
my father would take us to the movies an hour late. I swear to God. And,
but you would stay and watch
and
the
we
beginning.
would stay and we would get halfway in the theater,
Yeah.
watch the movie, the second half,
Yeah.
sit, the whole audience would leave, and then a new audience would come in, and we still sitting there.
Still seated.
The movie would
Right? You
start.
could just sit there and watch the same movie
The
all
movie
day
would
long.
start, and then we'd be like, oh, for like the first hour.
Ah, now
Oh, that's
I understand.
why. Oh,
You're stupid.
And then when we got to the part, when we came in,
And then
my
you would
father would
leave.
go, come on, let's go. We get up and go. And his logic was no traffic, in or out.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
So I seen so many movies backwards.
That's hilarious.
So many movies.
I've been to so many restaurants where we didn't actually sit and eat or even order food. My father would take us to restaurants. We'd order the bread and the water. And once we got through the bread and the water, he would get pissed off somehow. He's like, we're going home. We're going home. And we would leave and actually go home. Like, it's crazy.
So you guys were surviving off of bread and water half your
That's
life.
it. That's it. I told you about this,
your dad
right?
About the family vacation. I was dying laughing.
Oh, my God.
Your dad was going, taking you to Disney World, right?
Oh, yeah, he got pissed off at Disney World. Because I wanted a sundae or something. Like, I wanted an ice cream. He was like, shh,
We're going home.
we're going home. We're at Disney. Yeah. But sometimes he would take us to
Disneyland
the
or Disney World?
No, Disney World, because we were in Florida at the time.
Oh, my God.
But sometimes we would go to the movies. We got the tickets. We got the popcorn. We're in the theater. He'd get pissed off. We're going home. Why are we going home? You spent this money. Why would you do this?
Oh, shit.
You imagine building all that up and then
You
go home.
And you just can't wait to see the movie. We're going to wall.
Like, get pissed off for the stupidest thing.
Yeah.
Like, stop kicking that. We're going home. It was like, Dad, I'm not even kicking you.
But for me, like, E.T. was a nightmare film for me. That was a horror film for me because I watched it from the half. The alien was already there. You know what I mean? I was like, what the? I was freaking out.
Hey, at least there was no traffic.
But there was no traffic, so we got home quick.
Yo, quick, you stupid.
Let me ask you guys something. For comedians, young comedians, folks that are just starting out, that are considering, and as well as actors who are just starting out, what advice can you give to both of those folks about getting started based on the knowledge you have now and the wisdom that you have about both of those places to perform? What would you say?
I would say don't do it.
Don't do it. You know,
that's my first piece of advice.
You know, that's
Don't
what George Carlin. I met him once.
Mm-hmm.
I was working at the Gap, and I heard this voice that sounded familiar to me. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take some of those jeans over there and those pants over there." And I was like, "That guy sounds familiar." And I turned, it was George Carlin.
It sounded like it was just
And he had a hat on and shades. I'm like, is that like his
Disguise.
Like a disguise, you know? And so I told my boy Malcolm, who worked there. And this is not the same Malcolm I went to school with. But it was another Malcolm. I was like, Malcolm, that's George Carlin. He was like, who the fuck George Carlin? I was like, you know what? Forget it. So then I'm sneaking over next to him and I'm like, hey, Mr. Carlin. I'm like 19 years old. Mr. Carlin, I know who you are. I'm not gonna make a big deal about it, but I just want to tell you, I'm a huge fan of your work. I'm a stand-up comedian as well. And the moment I said I'm a stand-up comedian, he was like, made that face. I could see his eyes through the shades. I was like, oh no, I said the wrong shit. I should have said that. But then he just started talking to me about like the neighborhood he grew up in. And then he said, all right, kid, I'll see you around. And I was like, wow.
Wow, that's
George
pretty
Carlin
good
said, I'm
story.
gonna see you around.
That's my first piece of advice. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But if you get past that, then I would say the advice that Sid Caesar gave me when I was a young comic.
Wait, Sid Caesar gave you advice?
Yeah.
What?
I went to Bananas Comedy Club when I was a kid, like 16, 17 years
And
old.
Sid Caesar was there.
Sid Caesar was the
What you trying to say, man?
surprise
What you trying to say?
comedian
What you
that
try-
night.
What you trying to say about bananas, man?
What are you talking about?
Don't start no
I used to
shit.
go to Bananas all the time.
Don't start no shit.
So Sid
Bananas is
Caesar,
a club.
I'm 16.
The one in New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I performed there.
I'm 16. Sid Caesar is the surprise guest. I have no idea who he is,
Right.
right? Because I
And
wasn't
after that, you
educated
knew.
enough.
Old as dirt, man.
But all I knew is that he was a big deal,
The show shows.
right? And he was hilarious. He came up, he did his bit, hilarious. After the show, I went up to him and I asked him for advice. What I'm like, I'm a young comic.
Yeah.
I lather myself with lemon. What can I do?
Highlight.
Mr. Lemon over here.
And he said, kid, perform. That was his advice. Perform. Anywhere, anytime, perform. That's what he said.
I'll get this kid away from me.
And that's probably the best advice. That's it. Perform. You'll fall into it. If you're meant to do it, just perform all the time, anywhere, anytime, any place, and everything will fall into place.
What about you, Gil?
Well, as far as acting, a lot of people see actors and figure, oh, I could do that. It's one thing thinking you can do it, but it's about doing your homework. The reason why you have a lot of other actors that blow up and you be like, man, where'd that guy come from? I never saw him before. Theater is one of the best training grounds, period. And it's about learning your lines, being professional, being on time, finding out who those characters are, and becoming that character for that moment of time on that stage. And in doing so, other things start to fall in place as well, as far as, all right, what you learned in theater, you can apply the same thing in film, except that it's much smaller. You got to take those same thoughts where on stage it has to be bigger than life because you want the last person in the audience to see what you're saying or how you're feeling at that moment. It's the same thing, but it's more subtle. It's more of a look in your eye as opposed to being all over here, you know. And whereas TV is a whole nother, it's right in the middle, depending on what they're trying to show. If it's a sitcom, it could be same thing like theater, over the top. If it's a drama, then it's much smaller. So it's the same thing. But I think that's the key. That's the key as far as that. As far as stand up, He said it right. Sid Caesar said it all. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. It becomes like second nature. And there are gonna be times when the audience just isn't gonna get what you're doing. On the other hand, you got certain audiences that are just eager to hear what you got, and they're there to have a good time, and they came out to have a great time, and they want to laugh at everything you say. So it's just about you having a great
also,
time.
family support is very important. Also, I remember my father. He was a waiter, young Cuban. He was a waiter, and he told me
He was waiting in the water.
he was waiting, and he told me Soupy Sales came in. He said Soupy Sales came into his restaurant and ate, and skipped on the bill.
I love.
So my dad hated comedy. My dad hated comedy.
You just pissed me off now.
He did.
I like Soupy Sales.
He's like, I never want to hear about comedy. That Soupy Sales. I'm gonna tell you right now, that freaking Soupy Sales. Okay, he came into my restaurant and he didn't pay me. I don't want you doing comedy.
So he had to pay it. He had to pay the bill.
Soupy Sales almost ruined my career.
I can't even believe that story, but it's hilarious, and I want to believe it.
That's a true story.
True story.
That's a true story.
Oh man. Well, listen, guys. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you, see your stand-up, see your acting work? Where can they go?
Word, go to www.lazvic.com. That's LAZVIC.com.
What about you, Gil?
Gil Tucker on Facebook and on
AOL.
Instagram.
MySpace?
Mi gente.
Black Planet? Smoke signal. Send a smoke signal to Gil Tucker.
You can send the carrier pigeon to.
Yes, operator. Please connect me to Gil Tucker.
So that's why you guys brought me here, huh? You dirty bastard.
That's lazvic.com.
So Facebook. Where else?
Instagram.
Okay. And what's your Instagram handle?
I don't know, Gil Tucker.
We'll just ask a family member.
It's actually Guilty 357.
Guilty 357.
357, like the gun.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
All right, folks. Well, listen, man. It was really nice to have you guys on the show.
Last weekend of
There's more.
last weekend of May, first weekend of June, we'll be doing Black Love out at the Black Spectrum Theater in Queens.
This weekend, February 14th, I'll be with Victor Cruz and Kenny Ortega at Yonkers Comedy Club for 2 shows, 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. February 15th, I will be hosting at the Rhino Comedy Club. Feet and Judy Gold will be at the Rhino Comedy Club February 15th. RhinoComedyClub.com.
Rhino.
And Black Spectrum, do they have a website where people can go to buy
Yes,
tickets?
they do. Yes, they do.
What's the website?
Black Spectrum Theater.
All right, blackspectrumtheater.com.
.com.
All right, folks, we had a great time hanging out with my friends, man, and this will not be the last time you see us hanging out together. If you have not subscribed to this channel, do it now. Definitely like this video. What can I say, man? Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I miss you guys like crazy.
Love you nephews, man.
Oh, man. Group hug.
It's a great thing to see 2 young men you knew from way back in the day growing to grown men doing great things.
So rough. You're so rough, Gil.
Proud of
Gil 357. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Don't make me take this belt off, man.
Oh, sorry, papi. Bendición. All right, folks. I'm Victor Cruz, and thank you for tuning in to the Victor Cruz Acting Studio podcast. We'll see you next time.